coronavirus pandemic, a consortium of Kenya private security officials have announced that they are prepared to deal with the outbreak in the country. This comes as Ministry of Health officials tracked and forcibly tested a suspected case of the virus alleged to have been hiding in a Nairobi hotel, as Brian Obuya now tells us.
The responsibility to supply sanitizers to visitors in major buildings and social places has been left to security guards. This essentially means that they are more likely to meet infected persons in the course. How aware and prepared they are is a concern.
That this is not the time to seek to resolve our internal issues by dropping tools and through strikes actions as advocated by a portion of our community. This is the time for us to focus on saving human lives and preventing the spread of this disease by all means possible.
Fears of the COVID-19 pandemic have seen some companies having to send staff on leave, others reducing the number of staff at work. But such is not the case for security companies, this exposing guards to higher risks.
If at all today we have like a workforce of 100 people, which is actually working in your building, in the event that one person is infected, then that means that we are going to suspend all 100 people in that particular building. These protective measures, the guards should be trained on how to use them. Because you give a guard a protective, like something like gloves, and the gloves, the glove is actually one of the major contaminants actually. Because you have the gloves of such vehicle 1, the same gloves of such vehicle 2 and vehicle 3, not knowing how this particular thing spreads.
The country has been on high alert ever since reporting the first case of the deadly virus, the first in East Africa before Tanzania and Rwanda followed. Uganda has since closed its borders, suspended any form of religious gatherings and closed schools. On Wednesday, police in Lunga Lunga, Kwale County, had reported the arrest of 13 nationals and 3 Tanzanians who tried gaining entry into Kenya without observing the COVID-19 regulations which required them to self-quarantine in Tanzania for 14 days. Here in Kenya, Health Minister Mutahi Kagwe had warned of hefty fines for those who will not self-isolate for 14 days after arriving into the country.
Let me remind such people that it is an offense punishable by a jail term for you to say that you are going to self-quarantine and you do not.
And the state began a manhunt for individuals appearing in manifests to have flown in the country, but their conduct did not indicate they were in self-isolation status. Medics and police raided a city hotel for a suspected case. The case is one of a middle-aged Kenyan man who flew into the country from Lisbon and is said to have had a stint at 3 city hotels without subjecting himself to a self-quarantine.
That information reached us yesterday through an informant who informed us of this gentleman who came from Lisbon on Sunday last week and has been all over. I think he was even chased from Windsor Hotel. Immediately, in conjunction with the security apparatus, we circulated his number, and eventually we caught up with the gentleman today at Serena Hotel, and we transferred him to the Mbagathi isolation unit for isolation and testing to confirm his status.
And of course, we will keep the gentleman, in isolation by force. If you cannot do so voluntarily, then we will keep you in isolation by force.
A medical team from the Ministry of Health had to force a test on the person of interest, within which time the hotel remained on what appeared to be a lockdown. Brian Obuya, KTN News.
Well, let's now